Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tony and Truckin. I've got an email. What we get? What is it? I don't know. All right. Yeah, Tony and Truckin, Yeehaw Trucking Company. Let's go. It's Thursday on the Tony Show. It means we get the great John Adams blessing our radio waves.
Very interesting, the timing of it all. I mean, I get what they have to do, but
where are we at?
When you've had fans that have been supporting your program for 30 and 40 or 50 years, you don't need to, squeeze them for everything they've got when the TV contracts and the money.
That's exactly right, Matt.
The SEC is at an all-time high.
Why can't you budget yourself? Why do you have to spend every plum nickel? Why do we have all this new crap that nobody's asked for? And it's just a bunch of nonsense. Why? And the games are not better. It's not making the experience better. If anything, I hear people go, man, I just wish it was the simple stadium where you just went and watched the game and you didn't have things blaring at you and things blasting at you and the video billboard and every boom, 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 boom. It's just nonstop. It's like being inside the Energizer Bunny for 4 hours. But
I don't care about any of that. I just want us to actually beat some teams that can play.
Well, and therein lies the problem.
Let's go win some games.
Go ahead, John.
Well, Tony, I think when you look at SEC football in particular, not just Tennessee, there's a tremendous sense of loyalty and a tremendous emotional investment that's been made from generation to generation. It's not your typical. I know what they say about. I've talked to Craig Jenkins, our friend Craig Jenkins, who's a masterful promoter and is a consultant with the Smokies. He knows how he did professional wrestling. He knows how to create an atmosphere that's conducive to drawing fans. But SEC football, Tennessee football in particular, are not like that.
Gosh.
It's based on going from one generation to another, from grandfather to father to son. And it as Matt says, your investment is in winning the games. I mean, if you go to that game and your seat's not really comfortable, and you think you had to pay too much for a Coke,
still 8 of 10.
But Tennessee wins a meaningful game, you don't really care about any of that. It's almost like, a sense of accomplishment that you withstood the traffic. You did all of this, and you weren't comfortable in your seat. You lost it when you stood up and went to sit back down.
Yes.
But there was this huge emotional investment. And I think you're losing that with fans. You don't lose it overnight. You do it gradually. And I think when fans see the loyalty doesn't work both ways. It's kind of a one-way street. And I'm not sure if administrators really understand that. SEC football is not is a special kind of event, and I think you need to understand that.
And it's interesting, and I want to ask you, because you heard Michael LeBron yesterday, I didn't. But one thing these people don't get is the emotion of it, because that's not what you're taught in school. But sports are as emotional, especially that sport. The connection, like for instance, I ran an email today. We're going to take a timeout because I want to ask you guys about something on the other side. And we're going to go around the room, and I'm going to ask the listeners as well your thoughts on this. And then we'll get into the Florida game. We'll get into SEC officiating today with John, who has some thoughts on what happened over the weekend. I'll look ahead to this weekend. There's some interesting stuff. The Tennessee-Florida game notwithstanding. We were talking about, and John was just making the point about the connection. And I'm going to ask this one more time. When the lady who emailed me today, who's had the tickets in her family for 60 to 70 years, and they got her breaking point, she said in the email, I can't can't do that. I just told them that's absurd. I mean, that's what you just said to me is absurd. For
So
those
buy
tickets for your
single game
football program,
tickets.
I'm paying double to go Danny White to go watch Josh Heupel. I mean, are you freaking kidding me? I'm paying double for that? Anyway, so she gonna turn her tickets back in. Monica LeBron and her ilk. It's not just her and her ilk. It sounds great in a vacuum to say, well, you know, we've seen in the industry that X percentage turn, and then these people come behind. Where are they going to come from? Who's going to jump on a sinking ship? If you're doing this and you're coming off 3 straight 11-1 seasons, we all get that. I get that. There's never been a time in any sport, anywhere, anytime, especially one that's generational like this, where you can run off the long-standing fans and then bring these newfangled people in.
You can't do it, Tony.
For a losing proposition. What are you going to do for them? Are you going to pave your stadium with gold so they can roll around on it and get some of the embers in their skin and take it home with them? I mean, what could you possibly, Danny White, be thinking right now?
Turn left.
And you people wait. You wait till you find out what's happened with your basketball team. And you come back to me in 6 months and you go, Mike, how did you know that? I'm just telling you. I'm telling you right now. You don't know what's the story. You that are long-standing basketball fans have, I'm gonna tell you right now, save your money, because you're gonna need it. Okay? The vacation you're wanting to take next year, if you're one of these people that's kind of middle class and you have basketball tickets, you have a decision to make.
And then
Are you gonna
turn
go on
right.
your vacation? Or are you gonna buy basketball tickets? I'm not kidding.
Turn right.
I'm not joking. You think I'm speaking hyperbole here? I am not kidding.
Get
We're
ready
going to take a brief
turn
time
left.
out. We come back. I'm going to ask these guys one question. I'm going to ask you this.
Turn left.
In order to do what they're going to do, they have to shrink the football stadium. Now, we were speculating on this back in the spring.
They're gonna
because
do
I heard
it.
some whispers. I think they're going to do it. I think that's what this is about.
Turn left.
It has to be. You have to shrink the capacity to create demand. Because if you don't create demand, why would I buy your tickets at your elevated
Your
prices?
route guidance is now
Because you're
fixed.
not going to win. So you have to get some tickets back, shrink the thing down, and then go to the people that want in and say, hey, this is what you got to pay if you want back in. That has to be what they're doing. Would it be the right move for Tennessee to shrink Neyland Stadium? And what number would you take it to? I'm going to ask Matt. I'm going to ask John Adams. I'm going to ask Matt, and then I'm going to ask Brian. John Adams gets top billing, in case he was wondering. In the meantime, let's get a timeout. We'll come back and talk about it after this.
All right.
Spread the word and get the app at TonyBasilio.com for Android and iPhones.
Adam Buckles is your Medicare specialist, your go-to guy when it comes to Medicare and your Medicare needs. If you're 65 and over or on disability, you owe it to yourself to call Adam Buckles. Adam is licensed all over the Southeast to handle your Medicare needs. Adam is a VFL to the core and wants to help you find the right plan for you. Look, there are many options to choose from. Even if you're already on Medicare, Adam might just have a better plan for your needs. So take it from TB. Call Adam Buckles at 423-213-7655. That's 423-213-7655. But don't just take it from me. Take it from Titans B.
Call Adam Buckles. He's my good Christian friend. He'll take real good care of you.
Jerk.
If you need an enhancer
Dang it.
for your Medicare,
Get
call
ready
Adam
to
Buckles.
turn right.
423-213-7655. That's 423-213-7655. Tony Basilio here from my good friend Marcos Garza and your Garza Law Firm. Pretty jacked up that it's football time in Tennessee. How about you? Well, I still have word of a troubling development and what we can do about it. Because carpetbaggers remain in our area. Out-of-town law firms, carpetbaggers,
straight
have been
on.
swarming into East Tennessee lately. Firms from Memphis, Chattanooga, Birmingham, they've stormed into our area. You've seen the ads on television. You've heard some of these new ads that are popping up on radio. Let me ask you a question. Wouldn't you rather do business with somebody that's
Go
live
straight
and local?
on.
A local law firm, you know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and
Aw,
my friends
man.
at Garza Law Firm are exactly that. These are your neighbors, your friends, our neighbors and friends. Support local causes year-round. Marcos Garza and the Garza Law Firm, always there for me when I have a need. For Fish Hospitality Pantry and also our Machi Tailgate.
left,
Just to name a
and
couple,
then
they're
turn
live and
left.
local. They're one of us. They're of our earth. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters,
Turn left.
injuries, and accident matters. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. And they will be for many, many years to come. Live, local, one of us, one of you. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help. Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire with an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect. You can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville.
right.
That's Fleet Tire,
And then turn
I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Turn right.
What do you call a group of friends who wear the same jersey for good luck, no matter how old it is, and who support their team through thick and thin, week after week, as if the very season depended on it while drinking Miller Lite? You call it Miller Time, all football season long. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2020 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Carnes Motor Company is celebrating 20 years of serving the living East
I hope
Tennessee.
this counts. I
Like
don't know
us
why,
here
like,
at your Tony Basilio
done
Show,
so many of the
Carnes
Wyoming
Motor
ones.
Company
One
wins
of them haven't
because
counted.
Rob and Brian go
There's nothing I can
above
see in the
and
event
beyond for you.
rules or
Above and beyond. Carnes Motor
standards
Company will even buy or sell
all been over
your
100.
vehicle.
Like, I don't
Yes,
get it.
They'll buy or sell
Get
your
it.
vehicle for you. Plus, warm weather's here. It's time to get your air conditioning serviced and get your vehicle ready for vacation with their certified technicians. And the best part, bumper to bumper, pillar to post. Carnes Motor Company will serve all your vehicle needs. How else can you thrive for 20 years besides going above and beyond? You will win with Carnes Motor Company. 7447 Oak Ridge Highway. Online at carnesmotor.com. Win with Carnes Motor Company. The kids are off to college. They're hundreds of miles away. And me and Mrs. B are staring at each other in an empty house. She wants to get away, go see a show or an event. Who do we call?
Yeah, Select Ticket Service.
How about when she wants to go to an NFL game?
Hey, Select Ticket Service. Back to the phone.
About a concert in Atlanta?
Select Ticket Service.
Say an NBA game in Charlotte?
Select Ticket Service. Select Ticket Service.
Select Ticket Service 687-1718. 687-1718.
All right, eyes on the road.
Select Ticket Service.
Yeah, that'll play.
Are you or do you know a senior that wants to give back and make some extra money while doing it? Well, I've got a life-giving idea for you. It's called Seniors Helping Seniors. This is a special job that will work around your lifestyle. Whether you or the senior you know can provide just transportation to a fellow senior or have a full nursing background, you have the ability to work as many or as few hours as you would like. So any senior can do it. Give them a call and join the life-giving team at Seniors Helping Seniors. 865-269-4483. That's 865-269-4483. Or find them online at seniorshelpingseniors.com. It's a great way to give and receive. Seniors helping seniors.
No, Tony. No, no, no,
The
no,
Great John Adams is
no.
presented by Seniors Helping Seniors.
No.
269-4483. 865-269-4483. Online at seniorshelpingseniors.com. If you're a senior or you have a senior in your life and they need some care, call that number or reach out on the email. It's incredible what they do. And if you're a senior and you have a few hours on your hand each week and want to give back and serve and be with someone and really inject some life into somebody else's life, it's a really beautiful thing.
Yes.
And Razor, if you're listening, that's Ray, thanks, man. It's incredible what you guys do. Let's go to the phones. Before I go to the phones, I want to go around.
Say we're 189.
John, I'm going to start with you. You know, here's a thought for you guys, just in the abstract, right? Let's say, God forbid, the hallowed halls of Neyland Stadium were to fall into the sinkhole over there on the river and be no more. And then we had to build it back.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
If you were building it back, and this is the way you got to look at it, and because otherwise you're getting into sentimentality, and people are going to go, you can't touch my stadium. Well, okay, I can't touch your stadium. The reality is, like Sean Sinclair said yesterday, the reality is that, and Matt said this on Tuesday, and he's right, Alabama and Florida had tons of seats open. You could see it. That game, tons of seats open. That's a reality of the modern era. And these people are trying to create ticket demand. And it's hard to create ticket demand when I can walk into your venue for 50 cents. Why am I giving you $1? John Adams, I start with you. If, in a perfect world, thinking about not even where the football program is at present time, because they're going to cycle back up.
No,
But in a
saying that
perfect
for
world,
20 years.
what is a proper capacity where you can make that stadium a comfortable place, a roomier place, a better place for the people that want to come, so to speak? What's a worthwhile capacity, John?
I think I'd go for about 75,000. As you mentioned, what's critical is you have to create a demand for Tennessee tickets. There's absolutely no demand right now. I mean, you don't have to worry about getting a ticket. And I think if you shrunk the stadium to that size, it would serve that purpose. It also could make for you get chair backs, you have nicer seats, you have more room. You can make the visit to Neyland Stadium more pleasant.
Matt Dixon, I come to you. You agree or disagree with that, or you like keeping it where it is? What would you do?
You do, Matt?
No, I would reduce it. Probably not as much as John would. Maybe, I don't know, somewhere between 85 and 90. I'd prefer to keep it above 80,000 because, eventually the thing will come back. It might be Tennessee just lucks into something at some point, but it'll come back some to where that demand will be back. So I would 85 to 90.
Brian Hartman?
Well, I like Matt's number, and that was where I was going to go. And I would try to get some chairbacks in there in certain sections, and then you could still have bleachers here and there. I think the chairbacks in the north end zone are nice in the upper level.
Yeah.
But I think you could do that in other parts of the stadium. I'd go to about 90,000. I would reduce it a little bit and sort of make games where, as Matt said, if there's a really, you could still have a crazier atmosphere maybe if you still could get the mix of, chairbacks.
But I mean, also, you can't sit here and complain about them raising your
maybe you
season
make them a
ticket
little bit wider
prices,
at
and
certain
in the
spots.
meantime, just basically
John,
maybe the
price
seats a
out
little wider, more
any
comfortable.
middle class.
This
lower
might be a
class
Tom
fan
Mattingly question,
for
but I'm
any
going to
big
ask you.
game.
When you first got here, do you remember what the capacity was in that stadium? Because you got here about the time I
Keep
started
right,
going to school
and then
at
exit right.
at the University of Tennessee, mid '80s. I got here in '87. When did
That's
you
when
get here, John?
That's when I got here too, 87.
Okay, so
Keep right,
what is
and then
what
turn right.
was the capacity then? Do you have any? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was,
No.
as I remember, it was over
Turn right.
100,000, just over
Please
100,000.
count, please
And at
count.
one time, Tennessee had the largest
If this
seating
doesn't
capacity
count,
in the country.
we'll take something from Wyoming.
That's changed, of course.
Out of state.
And I will say
See if
that,
works, but
and I wasn't working here when I first went to Neyland Stadium.
frustrating.
I was, I guess, either in Jacksonville or maybe in Baton Rouge when I first came here. But the stadium, it was just so tall. It was, I mean, it really made an impression
Go straight
because I'd
on.
never seen a stadium like that. It was the same way when I went to the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. It's built completely different, and it's expanded. So you're walking up and then you walk down into the stadium. It's just the opposite, but just the sheer enormity of it really made an impression. So that was kind of Tennessee's a selling point, I think, for Tennessee football was this huge, distinct stadium. And I think anybody that came in here to watch a game or players that came in here to play, it had an impact on them. And I think it helped
Yep.
in recruiting too.
Yeah.
But it's a different world now.
I was just told by somebody a second ago who, again, kind of is immersed in this.
Right, and then
Recruits
turn
today
right.
don't care about how many people are in your stadium. I mean, they care if it's full or not. They care if it's loud or not.
Turn right.
But the whole number, those days are. It's sort of outmoded almost. I don't know. I'm not saying. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's not worthwhile when the stadium's jam-packed and it's crazy and it's rocking. That's not what I'm saying at all. But it's just such a different day now. And the ticket buyer of today is different than the ticket buyer of 25 years ago. People want comfort now. Now, I do think there's too many things going on in a stadium that aren't necessary. All this sound and all this noise and all this nonsense, it just never ends. But that's everywhere. That's not a Tennessee thing. That's just you just copy what works somewhere. And so I'm going to ask you today.
Well, the key difference is virtually every game is on TV now.
That's right.
Or on a streaming service. So you don't have to be there to watch it. And it's just so much easier and convenient and cheaper to sit at home, air conditioned, and watch a game. And you have, it's just so much easier to do that nowadays because of, the HD TV and that's kind of evolved. And that plays a huge role, really, probably more than anything else, I think.
And you know what, Matt? Sean had a great point. There used to be like a level of shame / badge of honor for people where they would tell their neighbors, hey, I drive up to Knoxville every week to see the Vols, like you live in the mid-state. And that is slowly dissipating. You don't now feel the need to prove to somebody how big of a fan you are, which is why they better be careful with what they're doing here. I'm telling you, the word to the wise is sufficient. They better be careful with what they're doing here because they're trying to create demand for something that a lot of people are figuring out they can live without. I talk to people for a living. It's kind of what I do. Now, John, you know what I'm saying is true. This COVID thing, a lot of people have learned that they don't need to be in that stadium every week. And guess what, Celine Dion? Life will go on. Like they haven't turned into snowmen. or they're not frosty and they haven't melted. They're still here. They're living their life. And they can, and like Matt said, they can still watch it on TV and still sweat it. And then flick on Garzaloff fifth quarter fan reaction and live and die with us while we talk about it for 18 effing hours. But John, people are learning they better be careful here, John, because I think a bunch of people through this pandemic, that's another thing about the timing of this. I think a lot of people, John, are figuring out they don't need it.
I think during the pandemic, people, for good reason, have stopped going out as much as they used to. I think though, once you start doing that, I mean, it gets easier and easier not to go. It takes an effort to go somewhere. And so if you're not in the habit of doing that, you say, well, I'll sit in my recliner. And that certainly applies to football. You talked about people, a badge of honor where people would say, well, I drove from Johnson City, or I drove from Chattanooga to watch Tennessee play Saturday. I do it every Saturday. Well, when Tennessee was a top 10 team, Peyton Manning was playing and the Vols were contending for championships, yeah, that kind of meant something. But now when you say, imagine telling your friends, hey, I'm going up to Tennessee, I don't want to miss a minute of that Tennessee Tech game.
Right.
Then it almost becomes, it makes you sort of a laughing stock. People say, well, what's wrong with you? Why would you drive all the way to Knoxville to watch Tennessee play Tennessee Tech? And I agree that you have to think about that. How badly do people want to go to the games? And think about it this way too. I think there are a lot of college football team fans in Knox County, in this area. Yeah, they most of them pull for Tennessee, but there also is a wide range of interest just in SEC football and college football. Well, if you go and watch Tennessee play Tennessee Tech, think what you miss out on. Whereas if you stay home, you're right there ready for that Florida-Alabama game, one of the games of the week. You can watch other SEC games, other high-profile games.
Too damn hot.
So you really miss out on a lot of college football by going to see one team play. When that one team isn't very good, then that makes it even worse.
All right, let's go to Dan, who wants to throw out the first pitch from the phone calls. And we're talking about what Tennessee's doing, and it's going to be across all sports, but we're having a kind of a football-specific conversation today, because I think one component of this that's sort of hidden, it's baked into this, though, is that they are going to reduce capacity. Now, they're not telling you that on the front end. Trust me, they've had conversations. Trust me, they've told some of their partners this is what is afoot. They haven't given anybody a specific number. I'm asking you today, what should, in your mind, what would be a workable, suitable number for you? And if your suitable, workable number is 102, whatever the number is, then good on you. But let's go to the phones, and we'll start it off with Dan. Dan, good morning to you. You're on with John Adams, presented by Seniors Helping Seniors on this Thursday.
Good morning, fellas. How are we?
Good morning.
So, I was something I was thinking about this morning, and it just happened that I turned you on, and it just all worked out how it did. So, I went to the Bristol race this past Saturday, and something that I've noticed